My husband and I will be coming home for New Year's, so you better make sure everything is prepared, all right? You've been living comfortably at the in-laws' place, so this is your chance to show some proper respect for us. Make sure we're really celebrated, okay?
Ah, I see. Yes, I understand. Please take care on your journey home. Celebrated, you say? Understood. I'll do my best to make it as enjoyable as I can within my abilities.
Of course. That's only natural, isn't it? Let's see, what would be good? Oh, I know. I want something expensive and delicious. So why don't you get us some high-quality sushi? I don't feel like putting in the effort to chat with the in-laws, so at least make sure there's something good to eat so I can actually enjoy myself.
Is that really something you should say like that? Well, I do sense that you prefer to keep your distance from your in-laws.
Duh! Why wouldn't I? My wife would find dealing with the in-laws a pain, don't you think? Especially me, since I'm the wife of the eldest son. My position is different from yours. Everyone's always expecting something from me. And don't even get me started on the pressure they put on me to hurry up and have kids. It's a pain, honestly.
Even so, I do understand that managing relationships with the in-laws can be tricky, but I'm, technically, the ones who should be living with the in-laws are you two. My husband and I are only living here because of that arrangement, to help out and keep them company. So, are you saying that knowing that?
Oh, really? Are you seriously complaining right now? Well, that's pretty low of you. You're just like me, aren't you? You can't even judge me. You're exactly the same.
No, that's not really what I meant. You just called me out for supposedly living comfortably off the in-laws. So if that's how you feel, wouldn't you rather switch places and let us move out?
What? You guys just got married not too long ago, right? And you're already complaining? Come on, you're not in the same position as me. If you can't handle it, then it's even harder for me. You're the type who tries to push the work you don't like onto others, aren't you?
What are you talking about? Are you sure you're not the one projecting here?
I get it. Living with the in-laws is awful, isn't it? But I hate it more than you do, so don't even try to shove it onto me, all right?
What makes you think that's even appropriate?
And besides, it's true you've got it pretty cozy, don't you? All you have to do is split the chores with Mother, isn't that right?
That's not what I'm saying. I have to consider their needs and feelings too. Since you'll be visiting, shouldn't you be the one to communicate your preferences directly? I would appreciate it if you could let me know personally what you'd like to eat.
Huh? That's such a hassle. Isn't it extra work? You live there, don't you? All you need to do is pass along a quick message.
Well, that's true, but that's really not what I meant.
So annoying. I was thrilled to have a sister-in-law who I could have take care of everything for me. But if you're going to be so difficult about it, could you not? You're really starting to get on my nerves. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. So I'll leave it in your hands now. I'm looking forward to it. Bye.
Wait, hold on. Fine, I understand.
Is this really the welcome I get after coming all the way back for New Year's? Just looking at this meal, ugh, it's cheap, and it looks like it's meant for a charity soup kitchen, not a celebration. Honestly, did you even listen to what I wanted? I specifically asked for something upscale and impressive.
Wait a second. Bella, we thought you'd be arriving later in the day, so we're out picking up some extra things right now. I didn't know you'd be here so early.
Yes, well, I managed to get an earlier train and thought it would be nice to surprise you all by showing up early. But apparently, that was a mistake. I walked into the kitchen and what do I see? This pathetic display of hand-rolled sushi and scraps. I threw it all out for your information. I mean, really, did you think I was going to eat that?
Wait, you threw it out? Do you realize how much work I put into making that? Those were hand-rolled sushi pieces, Bella. I bought fresh ingredients from the best local fish market, and I even had my in-laws come over to help with the preparation. I thought you'd appreciate a homemade meal for once instead of the usual takeout.
Oh, spare me the sob story, Leanne. Hand-rolled sushi. That's not what I wanted. I expected sushi from a reputable restaurant, not some amateur attempt. Homemade food like that, it's insulting. How could you expect me to eat something that looks like leftovers? Next time, follow my instructions instead of going off on your little creative projects.
All right, Bella, that's enough. You're taking things way too far this time. Throwing away something Leanne prepared for you? That's not just rude, it's outright disrespectful. You're treating us like we're your servants.
Excuse me? And who do you think you are, taking Leanne's phone to lecture me like I'm a child? I was just expressing my disappointment. It's only food. There's no need for this drama.
It's not only food, it's the effort, the time, and the thought that went into it. Leanne worked hard to make something nice for you, and you just threw it in the trash like it was worthless. I'm not even sure you understand how much this hurt her. Our parents are furious. They're saying they've had enough of your entitlement, and they're ready to cut ties with you for good.
What? Are you kidding me? They're mad at me over a little misunderstanding about a meal? That's ridiculous. And cut ties with me? I don't believe you.
Oh, I'm serious. Our parents have had it with your attitude, and this was the last straw. They're talking about severing ties with you entirely. And I've spoken to your husband too. He's fully aware of what's going on, and frankly, he agrees with them.
Severed ties? This is absurd. You all are overreacting. I never asked for hand-rolled sushi. You're the one who went out of your way to make it. And since when do parents side with their daughter-in-law over their own child? It's not like Leanne is even a real part of this family.
Bella, maybe you should reevaluate your assumptions. I am very much part of this family, and on top of that, I'm also a key shareholder in the family business, the one where your husband works, in case you forgot. My position gives me significant influence, and after hearing about what you've done, our parents have decided it might be time for some changes. They're considering letting your husband go from his position in the company.
You're joking. You can't be serious. You're going to jeopardize our livelihood over some food? This has gone too far. Do you have any idea what this would mean for us?
Actions have consequences, Bella. If you're willing to throw out an entire meal we prepared out of spite, then maybe you don't deserve the benefits that come with being part of this family. And yes, your husband has been calling, pleading for forgiveness, but he's the one who's married to you, so he'll have to deal with the fallout.
I can't believe this. This is a nightmare. You're talking about completely ruining my life over something that should have been a simple family disagreement. And you, using your influence like this, it's petty and cruel.
It's only cruel if you didn't earn it. And frankly, Bella, you've brought this upon yourself. You treat everyone around you as if they exist to serve you, without considering their feelings or the consequences of your actions. Maybe this is the wake-up call you need.
You're my sister-in-law. Family doesn't treat each other like this, especially over something as trivial as a meal. I'm a stay-at-home wife. I rely on my husband's income to support us. How am I supposed to survive if you destroy that?
Well, perhaps it's time you start thinking about contributing. You could consider finding part-time work. There are no children for you to take care of, so it's just you and your husband. If he loses his job, maybe you'll need to step up and help.
Are you listening to yourself? I can't just go out and get a job. I've never had a job. I went straight from college into my marriage with Daniel. This wasn't the life I was prepared for.
Then you'll have to adapt. No one is responsible for carrying you, Bella. Not anymore. If you want the perks of being in this family, maybe you should start respecting the people in it.
I can't believe this. This isn't how family is supposed to act. We're supposed to support each other and not throw each other out over petty disagreements.
Support only goes so far. And as you've proven, you don't exactly treat people with respect. Maybe we've supported you too much, letting you think you could behave this way without any consequences. But I think that's about to change.
You can't seriously be doing this. I'm going to talk to Daniel about this right now. He wouldn't let this happen. He'll take my side.
Feel free to try. But he's already aware of the situation, and he's expressed that he's been fed up with your behavior as well. This isn't just about today. It's about a pattern of disrespect you've shown everyone in this family. He's even said that he's considering divorce if it comes to that.
Divorce? Daniel would never. We've been married for years. He wouldn't just leave me over something like this.
I think he's finally realized he doesn't have to put up with your behavior. He deserves a better life than being married to someone who treats everyone around her like they're beneath her. And for him, the decision is already made. The family, including Daniel, has decided to step back if this is how you choose to behave.
You're all insane. I've given my life to this family, and now, because of one little argument, you're all willing to throw me out like I'm nothing?
It's not one little argument, Bella. It's about years of entitlement and disrespect that everyone has tolerated for far too long. The family has finally decided that enough is enough.
This is unbelievable. I refuse to be treated like this. I'll find a way to fix this. Daniel and I will talk, and I'll get him to see reason. He'll understand.
Good luck with that. But even if he does, you'll find that you've lost the respect of everyone else here. Whatever you do next, Bella, I hope it serves as a reality check.
Leanne, I truly apologize for everything that happened the other day. I never imagined that Bella would do something so completely unreasonable. Recently, she had been acting a little too self-confident, but I never thought it would escalate to something like this.
I see. Well, I was certainly shocked, and yes, it was wasteful with the ingredients. But in all honesty, I don't think it's fair to place all the blame on you. I know you as someone who is sensible and reasonable. Even when we were out shopping for the ingredients, we had planned to meet up here. However, Bella, as usual, didn't want to put in the effort and decided to go to my in-laws' house on her own. I heard she opened a bottle of wine, sat back, and relaxed, completely ignoring everyone else. I can tell you, even my husband, who's usually a very patient and understanding person, couldn't help but laugh at the situation.
Yeah, even my brother, who's normally quite composed, just couldn't hold it in. But honestly, I get it now. Bella has always been a bit of a strong-willed person, but I never imagined her behavior would spiral to such extremes. It's honestly quite shocking.
By the way, Daniel, I'd appreciate it if you didn't use such formal speech with me. You don't have to suddenly become so distant.
No. I feel that I should take some responsibility in this too. If I had done a better job of communicating with you and properly explaining things, then maybe Bella wouldn't have acted out in such a disrespectful way. Honestly, up until now, I've been seeing her only as a younger sister, and maybe that's what led her to think she could get away with this kind of behavior. I never expected her to take such liberties, thinking that because she's my sister-in-law, she also has a certain level of power in the company. As you know, she's a major shareholder.
I'm surprised you even consider that. Honestly, I feel even more embarrassed now. I'm so sorry about everything. So, after all that, how did things go between you two?
Well, we got divorced, obviously. She came to me crying and apologizing, begging for my forgiveness. But the truth is, nothing she said really got through to me. At that point, I had already made up my mind.
I see. But Daniel, are you sure you're okay with this decision? I mean, I understand that it's difficult to work with someone like Bella, especially when she's such a significant shareholder in your company. But this decision, well, it's also a hard one for your in-laws, don't you think? I mean, they basically gave her an ultimatum. If you don't divorce him, you're out of the company.
I understand, and I'm really at peace with this decision. The truth is, I've been growing tired of Bella for a long time now. There were things she did that I couldn't overlook, and I found out she had been betraying me. I spent some time gathering evidence, and when I finally confronted her with it, everything came to light.
What? Betraying you? What are you talking about? How could she betray you?
You'd be shocked if I told you. Turns out she had been having an affair behind my back. I had suspicions, but I never had any concrete proof until recently. You know how she can be with people, charming and persuasive, but underneath it all, she's been playing both sides.
I can't believe it. An affair? After all this time?
Yes, and it's not just that. I also found out that she had been spending company money irresponsibly. I kept trying to ignore it, thinking it was just one mistake after another, but I couldn't turn a blind eye to it anymore. She kept pretending that everything was fine and even came to me asking for forgiveness, but I had already made up my mind. She wasn't the person I thought she was.
But Daniel, I can't imagine how hard this must be for you. After everything you've been through, this must be devastating. How do you even begin to cope with something like this?
It's definitely difficult, but sometimes you have to face the truth, no matter how hard it is. I realized that if I kept letting her walk over me, nothing would change. Her marriage was falling apart, and I couldn't allow myself to be in that situation anymore. I deserve better, and so does she. She needs to face the consequences of her actions.
I can understand. But are you sure there's no way to salvage anything between you two? I mean, you've been together for so long, right?
It's hard to say, but I'm certain. I don't think there's any going back from this. It's been a long time coming, and the damage has already been done. And I try to be patient. I try to forgive. But this betrayal is something I can't just sweep under the rug.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that serious. But Daniel, don't you think this will affect everything? Your family, your work, the company itself?
Of course, I've thought about that. I've considered the fallout from all of this. But in the end, I know it's for the best. I don't want to live in a lie anymore, and I don't want to be with someone who doesn't value me. Maybe it's harsh, but I think this is the right choice for my own well-being and future.
I see. I don't know what to say. I just never expected any of this. I thought things were going well between you two.
To be honest, I thought the same for a long time. But the truth always comes out, doesn't it? It's just a matter of time.
And hopefully, when the truth does come out of her, we'll be able to deal with her once and for all. I'm sure this wasn't the outcome you wanted from something like this on a day like this, but we'll just know that I'll always have your side in all of this. And if there's anything you need me to do down the road, just ask.
Thank you, Leanne. It means a lot to me hearing that from you. Like I was saying, in due time, we'll figure out what's really going on in that woman's head.
Absolutely.
I do want you to be aware of one other thing, though, with Bella. If things really do go further south with her than we are both expecting, can you make sure to help me cut ties to her as well?
I'm sure that a divorce will be able to do that just fine, right?
I know, and it should. But with a woman like her, there's no telling what she'll do when the divorce really does take place. She could turn into a crazed stalker for all we know. I'm sure the only one strong enough to deal with something like that would be you.
If that does end up happening, then I'll help you deal with it. But for the time being, let's just wait and see what happens.
Alright, thank you.
I am truly sorry for everything that happened during this trip. I can't express enough how much I apologize. Please, I'm begging you. Could you talk to my husband and ask him to forgive me?
You're no longer his wife, right? So what's the point of all of this? Why are you coming to me now? I already told you that I won't interfere with your relationship. So asking me to do something about it now, there's really nothing I can do.
I never thought it would come to a divorce. I really didn't expect this at all.
And on top of all that, the fact that you were having an affair with another man was exposed, and now you're being asked to pay alimony. I can't believe it. And now, after all that, you've come to me pleading for help?
Wait, you knew about all of this? If you already knew, then it would have been much easier to talk about, wouldn't it? I mean, I've been struggling with my own issues, being a stay-at-home wife. I've been going through a lot, and I just wanted to escape for a while. I wanted to spend some time with someone else, to have a little fun, to feel alive for once. But I promise I won't do it again, I swear. Please, I'm begging you. Could you say something to him for me? Could you ask him to at least forgive me?
What exactly should I ask him? It seems like you're trying to get me to side with you as if I'd understand what you're going through, just because I'm a woman. But I'm not like you. I don't share that same way of thinking. I'm not a stay-at-home wife anymore. I work hard every day. I don't have the time or energy to look at other men. I'm far too busy with my own life to even think about that.
But please, don't say that. You've been divorced, and now that you have to support yourself on your own, how are you going to do that? You've never had to do that before, have you? And now, on top of all this, you're facing a lawsuit for alimony. I can only imagine how terrible this must be for you.
This is just too ridiculous. You've never really worked hard for anything in your life, have you? You had the nerve to throw away the sushi ingredients that someone else worked hard to buy and prepare, only to demand that I provide you with high-end sushi? Are you seriously out of your mind? What exactly did you think you were entitled to?
Well, It's because my husband was the one making the money. And that's why I got to eat whatever I wanted and had all the nice things. I wasn't the one working for it, but he was.
But let me remind you, you're not someone with any real skills of your own. And this is the result of that grand misunderstanding of yours, isn't it? You got carried away thinking you were something you weren't. And now look at you. If only you had been more humble. If you had been grateful for what you had instead of demanding more, you could have lived a much more peaceful, fulfilling life. But no, you let your delusions of grandeur get the best of you. And now look at where it's gotten you.
I've already apologized, though. I've said sorry a million times. I'm doing everything I can to make up for it. So please, I'm begging you, talk to him. Say something. At least send me some money. Anything.
Well, the reality you've been avoiding is finally here. You're standing on the path you've tried so hard to avoid, while others have worked tirelessly to walk that very same path. But someone like you, who has no concept of real work or struggle, will probably never experience anything like the luxury you had before. No more high-end sushi for you. No more easy days. You need to wake up and realize that the life you've been pretending to lead doesn't suit you. It never did. Get real and stop living in denial. To begin with, I had always known that Bella's attitude was problematic. At first, I told myself it was a phase, something that everyone goes through at some point in their lives. We all go through rough patches, right? Everyone has moments of frustration where they act out of character. I didn't want to judge her too quickly, especially since we were friends, and I had seen the better side of her at one point. Bella was the kind of person who could charm you effortlessly. She had this way about her that made you feel like you were the most important person in the world whenever she was around. It was disarming, almost magical. And for a long time, I believed in that charm. I wanted to believe it was the real Bella. But as time went on, that illusion started to fade. It wasn't an overnight shift. It was gradual, like a slow burn. Little by little, I started to notice things that didn't add up. The way she treated Daniel, her husband, was the first big clue. It was subtle at first, just little things that seemed off. A comment here, a dismissive glance there, a way of shutting him down when he tried to express his feelings. Bella had a knack for making him feel small, making him question his worth. I couldn't believe it at first because Daniel had always been that kind of person who seemed to have everything under control. He was charming, generous, and genuinely kind-hearted. Yet Bella, none of those qualities seemed to matter. She took him for granted, disregarded his emotions, and used his love for her as a tool for manipulation. For a while, I thought I was just being paranoid. I didn't want to believe that someone like Bella, whom I had known for years, could be so cold and calculating. But the more I saw, the more I realized that my suspicions were not unfounded. Bella wasn't just going through a tough time. She was treating Daniel with increasing contempt. Every time he tried to speak up about the relationship, about the things that were bothering him, she would laugh it off. If he brought up a concern, she would dismiss it as insignificant. She would tell him he was being too sensitive or that he was overthinking things. She would always turn the blame on him, making him feel like the problem wasn't her behavior, but his reaction to it. It wasn't long before Daniel started to change. He wasn't the same man I had known before. The spark in his eyes had faded, and his once jovial demeanor was replaced by a quiet resignation. He would still laugh at jokes, still go through the motions of life, but there was an emptiness behind his smile. It was as if he was just going through the motions, trying to survive each day, but not really living. I could see that the weight of his marriage was wearing him down. I had never seen him so tired, so defeated. He wasn't the same person anymore, and it hurt to watch. I tried to talk to him about it, of course. As his friend, it was hard for me to stand by and watch him suffer without doing anything. But whenever I brought it up, he would deflect. He would say something like, "It's just a phase, man. She's going through a lot right now." Or, "I'm sure it'll get better, just give it time." He didn't want to admit it, not even to himself. He was still holding on to the hope that things would improve, that Bella would change. He didn't want to believe that his marriage was falling apart, that the person he had trusted and loved for so long could be so toxic. It was heartbreaking to watch because I knew that deep down, he didn't believe any of it. He was just too afraid to face the truth. He didn't want to face the reality that Bella wasn't the person he thought she was. But the longer he stayed in the marriage, the more apparent it became that nothing was going to change. Bella was who she was, and no amount of hope or effort on Daniel's part was going to alter that fact. The situation reached a boiling point when Daniel finally reached his limit. I'm not sure what exactly triggered it, but I remember the day he came to me, his face pale and drawn. He was quiet, but there was a certain determination in his eyes that I hadn't seen before. He wasn't angry, he was just resolute. I could tell he had made a decision. He wasn't going to tolerate it anymore. He had finally come to terms with the fact that his marriage was over, and he was going to do something about it. At that point, Daniel had already begun quietly gathering evidence, documenting Bella's behavior, noting the times she had been deceitful, manipulative, and emotionally abusive. I don't think he had intended to do it at first. I think it was just a way for him to convince himself that he wasn't overreacting. But there was something more to his feelings than just resentment. But as he began to gather more and more evidence, it became undeniable. His marriage was toxic, and Bella wasn't the person he had hoped she was. I'll never forget the day he told me. We were sitting at the same cafe where we'd spent countless afternoons, talking about everything and nothing. He looked at me with a calmness I hadn't seen before, and simply said, "I'm filing for divorce." There was no anger in his voice, no bitterness, just a quiet resolve. It was like he had finally accepted that his marriage was over, and now it was time to move on. He wasn't even looking for sympathy or validation. He just needed to tell someone, to make it real. The decision wasn't easy for him, of course. Divorce is never easy. It's a messy, painful process, and I could tell it weighed heavily on him. But at the same time, I could see the relief in his eyes. It was like a burden had been lifted off his shoulders. He had finally made the choice to put himself first, to stop sacrificing his own happiness for someone who would never appreciate it. It was a brave decision, one that he should have made years ago, but I knew that he had finally come to the realization that his happiness mattered too. As expected, Bella's reaction was explosive. She was blindsided, of course. She had never expected Daniel to actually go through with it. She had spent years manipulating him, making him believe that he was the problem, that he was the one who needed to change. She had convinced him to accept blame for everything that went wrong in their relationship. But now, suddenly, she was the one who was being held accountable, and she couldn't handle it. She tried everything to get Daniel to change his mind. She played the victim, of course. She cried, she begged, she promised that she would change. She told him that she was sorry, that she had been stressed out and wasn't thinking clearly. But Daniel had heard it all before. He had heard the promises, the apologies, the tears, and he knew they were empty. He had reached a point where he simply couldn't believe her anymore. He had given her chance after chance, but each time she had disappointed him. There was nothing left to salvage. In the end, Bella's desperation led to Daniel's family. She showed up uninvited, thinking that if she could win them over, they might change Daniel's mind. But it was too late for that. Daniel's family had seen through her act long ago. They had watched as she tore Daniel down over the years, and they weren't about to let her manipulate them too. They had no sympathy for her. They weren't interested in her apologies or her tears. All they wanted was to protect Daniel, to make sure he was okay. Bella must have realized at that moment that she had lost. She had nowhere else to turn. Her reputation was in tatters, and the people she had once used to manipulate Daniel were no longer on her side. She had no power left. In a last-ditch effort, she resorted to begging. She fell to her knees, crying and apologizing for everything she had done. But her pleas were ignored. Daniel's family didn't want to hear it anymore. They had seen enough. The situation escalated from there. When Bella refused to leave, when she continued to cry and beg for forgiveness, Daniel's family had no choice but to call the police. They couldn't allow her to disrupt their lives any longer. And so, Bella was escorted away by the authorities, her face streaked with tears and her pride shattered. It must have been a humiliating experience for her, but it was also the wake-up call she needed. The life she had built on lies and manipulation had finally caught up with her. I don't know what happened to Bella after that. I heard rumors that she left town and that she disappeared somewhere in search of a new start. But I imagine that it wasn't an easy transition for her. She had spent so many years manipulating everyone around her, and now she had no one left to manipulate. The consequences of her actions had finally caught up with her, and she would have to face them whether she was ready or not. As for Daniel, well, I think the divorce was the best thing that could have happened for him. It was a hard, painful process, but it was also a liberating one. He had finally taken control of his life, and he was starting to rebuild himself. It was no longer the defeated, broken man he had once been. He was free. Looking back on it all, I can't help but feel a sense of justice. Bella had been given every chance to change, but she had squandered them all. She had treated Daniel with cruelty, and now she had to face the consequences. The reality that had been waiting for her all along had finally caught up with her. It wasn't easy for her, but sometimes reality has a way of putting things into perspective. And I think Bella finally understood that.
Hey, my sister and her husband apparently want to invite me on a trip with them. So, I'm leaving tomorrow.
What? They want to invite you on a trip? Wait, so the three of you are going on a trip together? What's the situation here? And isn't this way too sudden? What's going on exactly?
Oh, it's nothing. I just forgot to tell you, that's all. You weren't invited. I figured you'd throw a bit of a tantrum if you knew. So I decided to just keep it quiet.
What? I wouldn't throw a tantrum. It's not like I wanted to go in the first place. But I told you already, I wanted to talk with you about something important this weekend. I even asked you to keep it open, remember?
Oh, did you? Honestly? Is it really something you need to build up like that? If you got something to say, you can just say it now, you know.
I know, but I was hoping we could spend this weekend together. You've hardly been home lately, and I thought we could take it easy as a couple and, you know, have a proper talk.
Come on, we can do that anytime. But I don't get to go on trips with my sister and her husband all that often, you know? It just so happens that the timing worked out for tomorrow. So of course I'm going to prioritize that. No reason for you to complain, right?
Why do you have to put it that way? Are you saying our marriage doesn't matter at all to you?
Oh, come on, give me a break. Why are you getting so hysterical about this? It's just a short trip, no big deal. You're making a whole thing and it's exhausting.
That's not the point I'm trying to make.
Anyways, I'm going out for drinks tonight, so I'll be back later. Just go to bed without waiting up for me, alright? I'd rather not come home till you're still awake. And don't worry about my packing. I can get everything done in no time, so you don't need to stress over it.
Understood. I'll go to sleep then. Take care and come home safely.
Hey, I'll be coming home tonight, but I'll have already eaten, so you don't need to prepare anything for dinner. My sister invited me out, and I'll be hanging out with her and her husband for a while. I don't think I'll be back too late, but don't worry about waiting up.
Oh, okay. I understand. But hey, they didn't ask you for any unusual favors this time, did they? I still remember what happened the last time. They invited you over for what you told me was just a casual meal, and I didn't think anything of it. Then you came back and told me they'd actually asked us to take care of their dog while they went on vacation. We both knew that our apartment doesn't allow pets, yet you just went ahead and accepted. I was the one left dealing with all the logistics of that mess, while you barely handled any of it yourself. After that whole situation, we agreed that you wouldn't accept any more favors from them without discussing it with me first. So I'd really like to hope there's nothing that's going on like that this time.
Come on, that was a different situation. I wasn't planning on taking any big favors or anything like that. I just wanted to try spending some time with a dog. Pets aren't allowed here, sure, but I wanted to have the experience of having a dog around, even if just for a little while. It wasn't like I was completely unaware of the trouble it caused, but I was hoping you understand. This time, though, there's no dog involved, so don't worry. I know you made your feelings clear on that last time. Honestly, I think I was more disappointed than anything else because of how mad you got. I didn't think you would react that way.
Maybe you're the one who doesn't get it. Dogs aren't toys, you know. You can't just decide to try having a pet on a whim whenever you feel like it. That kind of behavior is irresponsible, and it's not fair to anyone involved. The dog, me, or anyone else who ends up affected. Anyway, let's set that aside for now. You're saying there's absolutely nothing strange this time, right?
I've already told you, I'm not taking care of any pets or anything. So can we move on? It's not that kind of visit. They just found a new place they're looking into and they wanted to show it to me. And no, it's not some place that would need us to babysit their dog or anything like that.
Wait, what? Are you certain this new place they're looking into doesn't allow pets or won't create any responsibilities we need to cover for? Because if they're looking for a setup where we're expected to take on any extra burdens for them, that's just not going to work for us. I don't want to go through another situation where we have to do extra for them because they made plans without thinking it through.
I already told you, it's not about pets at all. They're looking into a luxury condo, and it's all in their control. You don't need to worry. Besides, they only asked me for one small favor, and I doubt it's something that would even affect you.
Wait a second. What favor did they ask for? Why are you being so casual about this? When you say one small favor, what exactly did you agree to?
Oh well, my sister asked me if I'd be willing to co-sign on their new place. It's a luxury condo they're looking into, worth about $2 million. But hey, it's just a formality. It's not like I'm actually going to be responsible for any payments or anything. They just need someone to vouch, you know? It's all technical, really.
Wait, what? You're joking, right?
Not joking at all, actually. It's really not a big deal. I trust them completely. And they never skip out on something like this. It's just a piece of paper to help them out with the formalities. Come on, you can relax. Besides, if anything were to come up, I could always let you handle it. Not that anything would actually happen.
You can't be serious. I can't believe you agreed to do something like this without even consulting me. Do you have any idea what you've done? Co-signing on a loan that big is no small favor, and it's definitely not something you just casually agree to. Are you even aware of the potential consequences if they fail to pay?
What are you getting so worked up about? Are you saying that you don't trust my sister and her husband? That's kind of low, don't you think? This is family we're talking about here. My actual sister, you know?
To be honest, no, I don't trust them. We've been through enough with them in the past that I know better than to believe they wouldn't put us in an uncomfortable situation if it suited them. I've always felt that our values don't align, and I get the distinct impression that they only invited you out this time to keep me out of the way. They know you're more likely to agree to something impulsively, and if I was there, I would have told them no. Isn't that exactly why they conveniently chose to invite only you?
What are you even talking about? You sound paranoid. You're supposed to be my wife, aren't you? Why are you so skeptical?
I get it now. I should have been more cautious from the start. I didn't expect them to go this far, but I also didn't expect you to agree to something like this behind my back.
Enough with the accusations already. You're so cold-hearted, honestly. Isn't family important to you at all? This is my sister we're talking about. Isn't helping out family a natural thing to do?
Then explain this to me. Why didn't they invite me along with you if they see me as part of the family? If they respect us as a married couple, shouldn't they have asked us both to discuss this together? If you two really think of me as family, why didn't we all sit down together to agree on this?
They probably just thought you react the way you are now, nagging and making a big deal out of everything. I mean, just look at how you're handling it right now. Isn't this exactly why they thought it'd be easier to talk to me alone?
So you're admitting that you knew I would have legitimate concerns about it, but you still went along with it because they made it easier by only inviting you? Isn't that exactly what happened? I've told you since before we got married that financial matters are very important to me. I made it clear that I wanted open communication about anything significant, and I specifically told you that I hate secrecy in any form. Didn't we both agree on these things? Or did those words mean nothing to you?
You're overreacting. It's not like I committed to us some massive financial expense. It's just co-signing. And I'm not hiding anything. I'm literally telling you right now. Maybe the real problem is how uptight you are. I bet this is why your last marriage didn't work out either. All these rules, all these restrictions, telling me not to hide things, not to lie, to consult you in every single detail. It's exhausting.
I'm just asking for basic respect and transparency. The kind of open communication any healthy marriage should have. You know what? I can't trust you anymore. I hate to admit it, but I think I made a huge mistake in trusting you. I'm done. I want a divorce.
Wait, what? Are you serious right now? You'd be on your second divorce, you know. You really mean it?
Yes, I do. Completely serious. If I stay with you, I feel like I'll only be dragged down further into a life of constant stress. I can't keep going like this. I'll pack my things and be done as soon as you sign the papers. You don't have to worry about me nagging you anymore.
That's actually funny. You know, it's not like you make that much from your job, right? Are you sure you'll be okay without me? You better think this through.
I'll manage just fine. And don't worry, I'll also be filing for alimony.
Alimony? Now you're being absurd. For what exactly?
Don't play dumb. You know very well why. I wanted to have this conversation in person, but I see there's no point in giving you any more chances. I know about your late nights, your constant disappearing acts, and the messages you've been hiding on your phone. You've broken every promise, so yes, I'll be getting what I'm legally entitled to.
Fine, go ahead. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't expect me to be here when you get back.
Perfect. Don't be. Goodbye.
Thank you for the voice message earlier. I could hear your voice trembling, but I know you're not okay, are you? I understand the situation now. I can only imagine how painful things must be for you right now, but just hang in there a little longer. Today, no matter what time it is, come back to our family home. I'll come to pick you up. It doesn't matter how late it is.
Thank you so much, Mom. Earlier, I tried to be strong when I spoke to my husband, but I can't help but feel completely fed up right now. I don't think it's just sadness I'm feeling, so I'm okay. I've known for a while that he was having an affair with a woman from the company. It's infuriating and makes me want to throw up, but now I'm just filled with disbelief and anger.
I totally understand. I can't believe he would take on a $2 million joint guarantee without even asking you. It shocks me that there are people like him, aside from my ex-husband. Why do you think we always end up choosing people like this? It's so true. When my husband told me he had become a joint guarantor, I thought to myself, oh, my poor daughter, you must be feeling something similar. It reminded me of your father.
He went ahead and took out loans on his own, making you the guarantor without a second thought, saying everything would be fine, but then he couldn't pay it back and just ran away, leaving you with the entire burden. I have so much respect for you, Mom, for fighting through all that while raising me and trying to pay off the debts.
It was really tough, but because of those experiences, I now have my own business. I enjoy my work so much, so in a way, it turned out well. I really didn't want you to go through the same thing, though.
I know, and that's why I tried to warn you before you married him. He knows about my past, about the difficulties you faced, and I made it very clear that any financial matters needed to be discussed openly. Yet, here we are. What is it with the men we seem to fall for? Are they all just losers?
It might be the case, huh? But even so, I want you to know that you're going to be okay. You're my child, and you're strong. You can do your work well, and you can enjoy life. You'll be able to live your life just fine, so please, don't worry about it.
Hearing you say that makes such a huge difference. When you say that, it reassures me, and I really do feel like I'll be okay. You're right. I'll definitely be all right. I'll embrace my new life and enjoy it.
And that's the spirit. Remember, you've always had the strength to get through tough times. It's like you've taught me resilience. You've been through so much, and yet you've always managed to bounce back. This will just be another hurdle that you'll overcome. You're not alone in this. I'm here with you, and we'll get through this together.
Thank you, Mom. I really appreciate your support. It's just that sometimes I feel overwhelmed and I start to doubt myself. But knowing you're here for me makes a world of difference.
You've grown up to be such a strong and capable woman, and I'm so proud of you.
I learned from the best. Watching you navigate all those challenges made me stronger.
I want you to remember that you deserve happiness and peace. Don't let the situation define you or your future. It's okay to feel angry or upset, but don't let those feelings take control. Instead, focus on what makes you happy and fulfilled.
You're right. I've been so caught up in my feelings of betrayal and anger that I've lost sight of what's really important. I need to find my joy again. I used to love painting and crafting. Maybe I should pick up those hobbies again. They always made me feel alive.
Absolutely. You should definitely do that. Reconnecting with your passions can really help you clear your mind and give you a sense of purpose. Plus, it's a great way to express yourself.
Art has a way of healing wounds that words sometimes can't reach. I've missed that feeling. It's been so long since I've allowed myself to enjoy those simple pleasures. I think I'll take some time this weekend to get my art supplies out and start creating again. It'll be nice to rediscover that part of myself.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait to see what you create. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about enjoying the process and expressing what's in your heart. And who knows? Maybe you'll discover a new passion that brings you even more joy.
Thank you for always encouraging me, Mom. You remind me that it's okay to be vulnerable and that I can always rely on you. I'll keep pushing forward and focus on rebuilding my life. Together, we can make it through anything.
Together? Absolutely. I'm so glad we can talk about these things. You're not just my daughter. You're also my inspiration. Let's embrace this new chapter in our lives and make it the best one yet.
Yes, let's do that. I'm ready to take on this new adventure with you by my side.
Daisy, can we please talk about getting back together? I've thought a lot about things since you left.
What? There's no way I would consider that. Speaking of which, I didn't realize I hadn't blocked you yet. I was shocked to receive your message.
Just hear me out. After you were gone, I finally understood how important you were to me. You always managed to balance work and household responsibilities perfectly. Living alone has really shown me just how quickly a place can get messy, and how much time it takes to prepare meals, do laundry, and take care of everything. It's been a real struggle, especially with the cold water making my hands rough and raw. It's been a disaster. Honestly, I'm so grateful for everything you did for me. I want you to give our life together another shot.
This is so typical of you. Now you realize how much I contributed to your life and think you can just ask me to come back? I would almost ask for compensation for all that time I wasted on you. If I were to remarry you, I would be giving you a free pass to have me take care of everything again. Why on earth would I want to become your maid again? Absolutely not. You have no idea how hard I've been working while you were living in comfort. Just because you are now struggling doesn't mean you get to offload that struggle onto me. You're still as selfish as ever.
Come on, don't say things like that. I've actually started to change a little, you know?
Really? And what's the truth behind that claim?
Huh? What do you mean?
I know you well enough to guess that your sister and her husband ran off, leaving you with their debt, and now you're in a panic trying to drag me down with you, right?
That's not it. Not exactly. You figured me out pretty well there. Actually, I did lose them. I'm drowning in debt now. After I paid you the alimony, everything spiraled out of control. Living alone has become unbearable, and my debt is piling up. I'm really scared that if this continues, I won't be able to handle it anymore.
Oh, really? That's fascinating. I have to say, I'm genuinely interested and can't help but think that you brought this on yourself.
Why would you think that? I'm still your ex-husband. Don't forget you said you wanted kids. You talked about how you dreamed of having a family and living happily ever after.
Yes, that was my dream. I've always wanted to be a mother. I longed for a child. My first husband, before you, was unable to have kids due to a health condition. He hid that from me before we got married, even though he knew I desperately wanted children. After we got married, we had a lot of arguments, which I shared with you before we tied the knot. I thought you understood where I was coming from, and now it feels like you've completely forgotten all of that.
I knew about it, but I must have pushed it out of my mind. I understood why you had issues with secrets and deception because of the troubles with your first husband. I was aware of that.
But when you divorced me, you threw that in my face, telling me how I hated secrets and couldn't forgive lies, and that's why I had to leave my first husband. You were fully aware of all of that.
You're right. I might have said that. I'm sorry. But I've changed now. I genuinely want to get back with you. I want to try again.
I truly want to cut all ties with you. That's why I divorced you. My father left behind a mountain of debt and disappeared, and my mother has struggled ever since. I believe I have shared all of this with you before.
I understand that, but it doesn't change anything between us now.
The fact that you can't connect those dots is precisely why we shouldn't be together.
Please, I'm begging you. If things continue this way, I won't be able to survive. Help me pay off my debts. I know you loved working. You enjoyed it, right? That's why you worked, even though you could have been a stay-at-home wife.
That's not the case. I've learned that I have to protect myself, so I've worked hard, studied for qualifications, and honed my skills. Thanks to that, I've been just fine after our divorce. In fact, I'm happier than ever.
Why would you say that? Why would you say such things to me? I have no one else to rely on but you.
Don't think you can lean on me anymore, you loser. You are nothing to me now. You're just a stranger. How long are you going to keep acting so spoiled? I've told you time and again that you should consult someone about your money troubles. The fact that you've chosen to live your life irresponsibly is not my fault. Enjoy drowning in your sea of debt.
Please, don't talk like that.
Why? Because it's the truth. You've made your bed, now lie in it. You think I would want to help you again after everything? No way. You've proven that you haven't changed at all, and I have no interest in returning to that life. I've spent so long freeing myself from the chains you put on me.
No, Daisy, I really need you.
You don't need me. You need someone to bail you out of the mess you created. You think I'm just going to come back and take care of everything again? You really have no idea how much I've grown and how strong I've become since our split. I'm living my life now, and I refuse to be dragged back into your chaos.
I can't do this alone. I'll really be in trouble if this keeps up. I can't manage without you.
Not my problem. You made your choices, and now you have to deal with the consequences. You chose to live a life that was careless and irresponsible, and I won't be a part of that anymore. I deserve better than to be treated like a safety net for your mistakes.
I just don't understand how you can turn your back on someone you once loved.
You don't get it, do you? Love doesn't mean sacrificing my happiness and well-being for you. You've made it clear time and again that you only think about yourself and what you want. I'm not your caregiver anymore.
But I changed. I'm trying to do better. I want us to be a family. We can work through this together.
What family? You think we can just pick up where we left off? You think I would willingly jump back into a relationship that nearly ruined me? You're delusional.
I'm begging you. Just give me one more chance. I'll show you I can change.
Change? You mean saying whatever it takes to get me back? This is typical of you. You've never been sincere. How can I trust that you really mean what you say now? You're just scared, and you think throwing some sweet talk my way will fix everything.
Daisy, please. You're the only person I can count on. I don't know what else to do.
Then figure it out. You need to learn how to take responsibility for your own life. I won't be your crutch. If you continue to lean on me, it will only drag me down again, and I refuse to let that happen. You should be ashamed of how you've handled everything.
But I really need help. I can't face this alone.
That's not my problem anymore. I've worked too hard to rebuild my life, and I refuse to let you come in and wreck it again. You've caused enough damage, and I'm not going to sit by and let you do it again.
Please, I'm begging you. Don't leave me like this. I can't handle it.
You should have thought about that before. You need to learn that actions have consequences, and you have to face them alone now. Stop expecting me to fix your mistakes. It's not fair to me. I've done my time dealing with your chaos, and I won't go back to it.
You don't have to be so cruel. I can change. I want to change for us.
No, you want to change for yourself. You only want to change because you're scared and desperate. Don't confuse that with love. I'm done trying to convince you of anything. You need to wake up and see how your choices affect others.
I just wanted us to be happy together. Why can't you see that?
Because happiness isn't built on illusions. You've created this mess, and I won't be a part of your fairy tale anymore. I deserve my happiness, and it won't be found by going back to you. After I blocked my ex-husband from all contact, it seems he lost his only source of support and fell into a pit of debt. I heard through the grapevine that he eventually resorted to borrowing from loan sharks, leading him down a dark path. Rumor has it that he's now involved in some pretty shady dealings. There are various theories about why he vanished from sight. Some say he was taken by gangsters and forced onto a fishing boat for tuna, while others claim he's living in some dangerous foreign city, selling organs just to survive. Regardless of the details, one thing is clear. He certainly isn't thriving in any way. Hearing these stories brings me a strange sense of satisfaction as I finally let go of the negative emotions tied to him. The choice to block him was not an easy one. It took a long time for me to reach that point. I spent years hoping he would change, that he would somehow transform into the person I once fell in love with. I tried everything, including counseling and discussions about our issues, but nothing seemed to work. Each time he would promise to do better, but it would only be a matter of time before he slipped back into old habits. When I think back on those days, I realize how trapped I felt. I was clinging to the hope that our relationship could improve, but I was only deluding myself. Blocking him was my only way of finally asserting control over my life, a decision I made to protect my well-being. I had to prioritize myself and my happiness over the misguided loyalty I felt towards him. Now that I'm free from that toxic relationship, I'm focusing on my own life and happiness. It's empowering to know that I made a difficult choice for my own sake. I've learned to embrace the idea of being single and enjoying my independence. It's a refreshing change after years of feeling weighed down by my past. I'm now actively engaged in the world of dating, determined to find someone who is genuinely good for me. I've joined various dating platforms and even attended social events specifically designed for singles. I've met some interesting people along the way, each with their own unique stories and backgrounds. It's both exciting and a little nerve-wracking to put myself out there, but I'm committed to finding a partner who will treat me with the respect and love I deserve. Still, I can't help but reflect on my previous relationship from time to time. It's hard not to think about the years I invested and the dreams I had for our future together. Yet, I've come to understand that those dreams were based on a fantasy rather than reality. I was often caught up in what could have been rather than what was. Now, I've shifted my focus to the present and the possibilities that lie ahead. Being single has opened up a world of opportunities for me. I can make spontaneous decisions without having to consult anyone else. I can travel wherever I want, explore new hobbies, and spend time with friends and family without feeling guilty or torn. It's liberating to be able to live life on my own terms, and I find myself enjoying activities I had neglected for far too long. As I navigate this new chapter in my life, I've discovered a newfound strength within myself. I'm learning to love myself more, appreciating my individuality and what makes me unique. This journey has also helped me recognize the importance of setting boundaries and knowing my worth. I won't settle for less than I deserve, and I'm not afraid to walk away from anyone who doesn't align with my values. In my quest for love, I've also been working on understanding what I truly want in a partner. I've spent time reflecting on the qualities that matter most to me: kindness, honesty, ambition, and a sense of humor. These traits are essential for me, and I won't compromise on them. I want someone who challenges me to grow and who can support me through life's ups and downs. While I'm excited about the prospect of finding a new partner, I'm also cautious. I've learned the hard way that not everyone who enters my life has good intentions. I'm more aware of red flags and warning signs, and I trust my instincts when it comes to relationships. It's a relief to know that I have the power to choose who I allow into my life and that I won't tolerate any form of disrespect. At the same time, I'm not putting pressure on myself to rush into another relationship. I'm enjoying the journey of self-discovery and personal growth. I've taken this time to invest in myself, pursuing interests I've always wanted to explore, like painting, hiking, and even volunteering for causes I care about. Each experience has enriched my life and helped me develop a deeper understanding of who I am. As I move forward, I carry the lessons from my past with me. I'm grateful for the growth that has come from my experiences, even the painful ones. They have shaped me into the person I am today, stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I won't allow anyone, not even my ex-husband, to define my worth or dictate my happiness. In conclusion, while I may have blocked my ex-husband and cut ties with a toxic past, I've opened the door to a bright future filled with endless possibilities. I'm excited to continue this journey of self-exploration and eventually find a love that is healthy, supportive, and fulfilling. The path ahead is mine to shape, and I'm determined to make the most of it.
Maple, hey! It's been about a year now since you and I have last talked. Have you been doing pretty good? So what is it you want with me this time? And just like I remembered, there's no form of friendliness to you at all. Your cute little sister is finally getting back in touch with you, and you're going to treat me with that cold attitude? That's the reason why your family doesn't love you, and you've turned into a sad and disappointing woman. Right? Are you even aware of that? What do you want with me? Well, about that, I'm going to be having my wedding here really soon. I plan to throw the largest wedding ever, so I would like for you to be there as well. I know that I've always had my own things going on, keeping me from ever going to any of the family's events and such. But it would be crazy of everyone not to show up at my wedding, especially when I'm your little sister, right? Huh? I have no reason to be going to your wedding. What? I'm not going. There you go. There's my answer to you. Wait just a second. What the heck, Maple? You can't seriously be that crazy, right? I've always been the cute, nice one in the house. How could you ever say something like that to me? And do you have any idea who I have always been to you, Stacy? Someone who doesn't get the same treatments and privileges as you. Oh, stop talking about all of that stuff. The reason you were never treated the same as me is because you've always been such a slouch. Mom and Dad feel the same way as I do about you. Huh? There were times you would take my lunches and dinners away from me, and there were times you'd take my things from school, like textbooks and my homework, and throw them in the trash. And at certain times, you'd even take things as far as ripping up my clothes and burning up all my underwear. All of that led to me becoming a slouch, a Grinch, even when I was around all of you. And that was all because you have such an ugly personality. You really have the worst personality imaginable. And listen, the only way you're ever going to get any sort of treatment from anyone is by fixing that rotten attitude you always have. That's the only thing you can do, because there is nothing else about you that is attractive. I mean, take your face, for example. It's ugly. I'm the one who is already married and making a decent living. So please don't comment about me like that until you're on my same level. What? Someone like you actually had the chance to get married? You really have that much hate for me that you didn't even think I could find a partner to marry? I hate having to listen to you always making comments like that. You were never able to do anything ever, yet you got married. That would shock anyone, not just me. But that's great to hear. I was worried about you for a bit since you're so stupid and all. I'm not going to say anything about that, actually. I was always failing my tests and everything, even though I was trying to study so much, which led to me stabbing both Mom and Dad's hopes for me in the back. Oh, how wonderful. At least you're aware of how brainless you are. Luckily, after you were finished with, someone like myself came along and aced all her exams, as well as passed all the top classes in her school. No wonder Mom and Dad love me so much more than you. Anyway, since you have yourself a husband, I want for the both of you to come out to my wedding. I'll make sure to send you guys an invitation as well. I have no clue what nerve you have that allows you to invite me to that wedding. I've already told you I'm not going as well. You are a liar, Maple. Why have you not come out to see me in my wedding? Because of you, there was an open seat left in my family section, and you've gone and embarrassed me in front of everyone there. You're an ass, a total jerk. You've gone and completely ruined what was supposed to be my perfect day. Give me my day back. Look, Stacy, I already told you before that I would not be coming. Twice already. You told me you were coming, and that's why I sent you the invitation. It's not like you even have another little sister whose wedding you can go see, so now you're just being an idiot by skipping out on mine like that. I don't think of you as my older sister anymore now and will be cutting ties to you. Well, that's good because I've never had a little sister. What? Because I've never thought of you as one to me. I was planning on cutting ties to you long ago, but forgot to block your phone number. There's never been a little sister in my family, and it's going to stay that way now since you are cutting ties to me finally. Wait, what the hell? You're a bitch. How dare you say things like that about me?
Maple, you doing all right? You looked really upset just a second ago, then you just left the house to go outside.
I'm sorry, Steve. I'm just a little pissed off at the moment. Something annoying came up again, and so I wanted to take a moment to cool my head outside in the yard.
But anyway, what got you all upset like that? I've never seen you have a face as red as that before.
Actually...
Are you kidding me right now? What was she thinking trying to invite you to her wedding? And now she's acting like she's the victim and everything? And that you owe her an apology or something? After all the crap she'd done to you.
I don't know what to say about all of this now. I didn't think things would come to this with her. It's been a long time since I felt this jittery with rage and anxiety at the same time.
I'm surprised you didn't take things further with her then, being that upset. Very mature of you. How about we have a few drinks today? Then that might help you settle down a bit.
That sounds great. Will you drink as much as me this time?
Of course I will. It's my job as your husband to make sure you don't get too carried away unless I stay at the same pace as you.
I'll make sure to pick up a couple of drinks while I'm here then. I'll even get us a pint of whiskey to help me settle down more quickly.
Perfect, and thank you. I'll make something up for us to eat along with those drinks then. And I'm sure by saying something like this, you'll get a little heated with me, but I am thankful for what your little sister has done.
What?
Well, because of what your little sister did, I was given the chance to meet with you, right? So even though it may be hard to do this, you should be at least a little bit thankful for what she's done. Well, I was thankful for her at least. However, now, after what she's done this time, I'm not so sure I can say I appreciate her anymore. Also, it doesn't seem like she's learned a single thing after all she had done before.
To that girl? No, to that whole family. They know nothing about learning their lessons or anything, so don't even try to hope for anything from them.
I guess that is true. I may have been thankful, but I am well aware now that your sister won't change. If she keeps on acting like that, then we're going to have to warn her. So please, next time you have to deal with her, let me know and I'll help you out.
Thank you, Steve.
Please don't forget that you are no longer on your own in this world. You have me now, right by your side.
It's all because of you that there were empty seats next to Mom and Dad, and you embarrassed me. You really are the worst. Even my husband says you're the worst. He never knew that you had such a self-centered attitude about everything. He also said your character is the worst and that you are ugly. There's nothing about you that is worthwhile to anyone here. But I'm not the devil, so I'll give you a chance to receive my forgiveness by giving me $1,000 right now and nothing less. Huh? What makes you think that I'd have to pay you anything like that? I don't have that kind of money in my bank account, and no, I don't mean that I'm poor. I just mean I don't have any money that can be handed over to a brainless woman like you. I made sure to ask you for only $1,000, and yet you can't pay me that? You can say you're not poor all you want, but I know deep down that you really are without any money. Look, Stacy, and what about your husband then? I'm sure since he chose to get married to a useless woman who is both ugly on the inside and outside, he has to be just as brain dead as you. But can't he at least give me $1,000? I was originally going to ask you to pay for my whole wedding, but I'm playing nice and only asking for $1,000. So hurry up and give me that money. Stacy, what the hell did you just say? Huh? I'm not playing your dang games anymore, Stacy. Did you just say what I thought you said? Were you just making fun of my husband as well? What? Making fun of him? I never said that I was making fun of him. Are you really that immature where you get upset when someone tells you the truth? Grow up already, Maple. I am younger than you, and even I know not to get all angry about the truth. Not only have you been making fun of me, but now you're making those terrible comments about my husband. I'm not going to allow that anymore. I am an idiot for thinking there was even an ounce of you that had changed. But since it seems you can't understand anything you're doing and anything I say to you, I'm going to have to get serious here. Geez, I don't care to listen to you whine about me. Just hurry up and pay me already, right now. What the hell, Stacy? What do you think you're doing? What? What do I think I'm doing about what? While I was out of the house, you were calling the house phone over and over again. And when my husband finally picked up, you started to pressure him for money. What the hell have you said to my husband? Leave him out of all this. I had to do all of that because you weren't sending me any money. That's what you get for bullying me now. Not only have you gone and ruined my very special day for everyone, but now you're trying to avoid paying that settlement I am asking for. I have no reason to pay you a frickin' penny, Stacy. It's frickin' childish of you to still be bullying me all these years later, just because I went and stole your fiancé from you. Maple, you are my older sister, right? You must be pretty messed up in the head if you're not able to laugh off all the funny things your little sister does. Huh? Who the hell would invite the very same person whose fiancé you stole to your wedding with that man? I would, because I wanted you there to celebrate me as my older sister. Also, I only said things that were true to your husband when I was on the phone with him today. You're the one with an ugly character. And even though you shouldn't be able to get married, you found yourself a partner but still hid things from him about me. You've committed a scam by marrying him without telling him the truth. You are a criminal now. I feel so bad for your husband now that he had to hear the truth from me. I'm sure he's just as much of an idiot as you are, but to be lied to like that and led into a scam marriage, I feel bad for him. Stacy, you cut all of that out right now. And you're the one calling me childish after my fiancé was taken by you? I'm sure you have no idea how that must have felt for me back when you did that. All the pain and misery I had to live through. What? Why are you getting all angry again? Because you keep on pissing me the hell off. I have been so upset with you these past few years now that I don't ever think there will be a time where I am not hating your existence. I was going out with your husband all throughout college, and we even had planned to get married. You were even invited to our wedding, Kay, but you were able to do what you wanted when you wanted with the help of those two ignorant parents. And in the end, you went and slept with my fiancé and later took him from me. I have been living a life of hell ever since then, although I never care to share any of it with anyone. What? You're all upset because of something like that? Huh? Listen, Maple, once everyone had found out I'd been sleeping with your fiancé and we had that family meeting, I said what I wanted to. It was mean of you to date someone as cool as him and not let me take him instead. And I knew that I was meant for him, which is what I told you, yet you still said no. That's why I had to steal him from you. And that's why Mom and Dad both said for you to give him to me and go find someone else. In other words, it's your fault for not being good enough for him back then, and not a single person is blaming me for taking him. Yet you went and held on to all of your hate all this time and used that to get in the way of my wedding to him. You are nothing more than a monster now. I hope nobody ever calls you human ever again. Ugh. I see, Stacy, I see. So in your mind, you haven't done anything wrong all this time. And that's why even now, years after what you did to me, you still haven't said any form of an apology? I have nothing to apologize about, so why would I? Anyway, pay me that money. If you don't, then I'm going to keep raising the amount of money I want from you. I will not let you get away unpunished after what you did to me in my wedding. You will not be able to run from me now. You're the one who won't be left unpunished this time. You went and made a name for yourself now in my family by making fun of one of my own. What? I have not made fun of anyone. When have I ever said anything about Mom or Dad that would be getting you so pissed off now? I've already been mistreated by the three of you and then stabbed in the back when I found someone I loved. There is only one person in my whole life so far who has not treated me like garbage, who is my family, and that is my husband. He's everything to me now, and I don't need anyone else. To me, my family is just him and I. They all aren't family to me, and they never will be. That includes you. To me, you are nothing more than a complete stranger. You are about to get the full wrath of my pent-up anger, now that you've gone and hurt my husband like that, you frickin' bitch. Jesus, why would you ever say that? I guess your character has only gotten worse all these years. Do you want to know why I never took you and my ex to court after you guys started having relations? Because I didn't want anything to do with you guys anymore. Also, it was because of you that I was able to find my husband, even if I don't want to accept that. So I thought to myself, as long as I was far away from you and had a life that I could enjoy, I would never have to go back and punish you for what you did to me. But now I can see there is no point in holding back anymore. Screw being mature about things now. All I want to do is send you and that bastard husband of yours to hell. How dare you talk to me like that when I'm your younger sister? I'm the one who's actually living a decent life and not one filled with things like stupidity and ugliness. You are just jealous of me because you never had a way of giving a wedding, and that's what's led you here. You really think that a CEO and his wife wouldn't be able to hold a wedding after getting married? What? You were able to get my new phone number and everything from the family, but you never asked about where I'm currently living, huh? Right now, my husband and I live in a penthouse. It has windows wrapping around 3/4 of the penthouse, and we can see everything from the city center to the ocean from here. And the biggest seller for this place is the view of the sunset in the evening. That's the kind of life we're getting to live right now, so I would not call us poor or stupid by any means. Huh? Are you completely out of your mind now? You can't be that delusional already, can you? I'll send you some pictures from inside here right now as proof, so please take a close look at all of them. You're lying, right? How can someone like you be able to live in a place like that? Had you never gone and stolen my fiancé from me back then, I would have never had a chance at this kind of lifestyle. I am thankful for that one and only thing. So thank you. I've been able to find the man of my dreams who I love more than anything else in this world, and I have been given a life where I am very well off. Honestly, this is the happiest I've ever been. Your husband, who you just got married to, unfortunately doesn't make the kind of money my husband does, and so you'll never have a shot at a life like mine. What the hell? You are a lowlife. You shouldn't be able to or allowed to have a better life than mine. Maple! So it really turned out that you have a lot of money, right? That means you can pay for my whole wedding now. It's all because of you that I ended up having a terrible wedding, so you should be fine paying up, right? You already get to live in such a magnificent penthouse out there, so this won't be a problem for you, right? Have you ever looked up the definition of a settlement before? I have already told you I'm not handing any money over to you. Come on, how much longer are you going to do this with me? You're too old now to not be learning your lesson here, so just take responsibility for what you've done and pay up. I'm not sure what all I need to be learning my lesson for and what responsibility I have with you. But I guess I'll hear you out this time since you don't seem to be giving up. Well, so you do know how to behave like an adult. I understand that as an adult, we all have to be responsible for the things we've done and must learn from them so that we never misbehave again. That's why I'm going to make sure you pay up just as much as I'll have to. What? What do you mean by that? Hey, wait a minute, Maple. What have you done? I just got an envelope in the mail that says I'm being asked to pay a settlement and that it's been sent to me from a legal firm. You happen to be the smart one between the both of us, so you shouldn't need me to explain anything to you as long as you read everything on those documents. That's not what I'm talking about. Why now, of all times, are you choosing to get this money from me? Doesn't matter what time I choose to ask for a settlement from you, and like I was saying before, I originally wasn't even going to. But then you came back and asked me to come to your wedding and then got upset with me for not showing up, of course. That all triggered my anger for you again, and so I decided I had no other choice but to do this since you had still not learned a thing. Did you really think you could make it through your whole life without having to take responsibility for having a single relationship with my fiancé and then stealing him? Are you that much of a dunce? Huh? Don't you dare start calling me the idiot here. You're the one who's pretty much mentally disabled. No point in starting to yell at me again. This is what you get for thinking you were so special and that no one would dare punish you for doing the unthinkable. Huh. I'm sure this was all just a fake anyway. What? There's no way someone could actually ask for this kind of money in a settlement, right? This is all a fake, and you're just trying to scam me. Too bad I'm smarter than that. If I were on the same level as you, sure, I would have probably fallen for this, but I'm not. So I'm not being fooled. Is that right? Well, go ahead and keep believing that then. I would much rather you wait and see what happens when you leave a legal settlement unpaid. Meeple, why did you send all these papers to my office now as well? And why to my husband's place of work? Because of that, some of my coworkers and my boss have found out. It didn't look as though you were going to pay me after I had my lawyer send the papers to your house, so I asked my lawyer to start sending them to your work, as well as to your husband's work. Because of you, my husband is being transferred out of the head office, though. And as for myself, everyone is laughing at me now about how I had to steal my own sister's fiancé in order to get married. And others are talking trash about me in their cubicles. This is the worst outcome. You're practically harassing me now. And all of these things have been done to me before by you. What? But you weren't as secretive about all of it, were you? Always coming to me at home and making fun of the grades I had in school, calling me stupid for them, and other times telling me you guys didn't need a brainless freak around and hitting me upside the head for it. And at school, you would walk up to my friends and I, telling them how ugly I was and saying I only made things worse by wearing skirts and things like that. Every time you would do any of those things to me, you would laugh about it with the loudest laugh possible while pointing your finger. Then, when things started to get boring for you, you took things to the next level and would ruin my clothes that I had for school, and even take my stationery things and flush them down the school toilets. And that was all because of you being a stupid loser. I may not have done as well on things like tests and exams, but when it came to my actual GPA, I was better than you. Sorry that I ended up having something called test anxiety, which led to me failing things like the ACT, but I was still able to get into a good college after. It happened to be the same exact college that your husband went to, so if you're going to call me stupid because of it, then he must be just as stupid. All you really had was a decent history in high school, yet you seem to think that's all that mattered. I can't believe someone who graduated from that medical school is being forced to transfer out of his office now. No way. What are we supposed to do here? I won't be able to pay you that settlement I've been asked for, and my salary is going to go down now after what my boss found out, so I won't even be able to live the life I've had. Why, Maple? Why are you being such a bitch to your little sister? Hey, would you stop acting like such a victim all the time? And like I'd said before, I cut ties to you long ago, but just keep forgetting to block your number. What? I've never thought of you as my little sister for as long as I can remember. Maybe you shouldn't have been acting so ignorant by thinking I'd still want to be your sister after what you did. I thought that since you and I hadn't talked in years, you would have understood that I don't want you in my life anymore. I even told Mom and Dad that I don't want anything to do with you guys anymore. What? So you're really cutting ties to everyone? Why? Why? Because I can't stand to think about you guys being a part of my life anymore, and I'm at my limits with everyone. I told them both I won't be going to their funerals and that I don't want anything from them after they die. Although everything was probably going to you anyway. Neither Mom nor Dad have ever thought of me as their daughter, so what's the difference between what I'm doing now and what was going on before? This is why I had said my family is only my husband and that I don't have any little sister. You already showed me that you don't want to be my sister anymore when you stole my fiancé from me. But after what you tried this time, I'm going to make you and that cheating bastard pay, literally and metaphorically. No way this is happening. I don't want to fall even lower than my mentally challenged sister. I'm not going to pay you anything. Then I guess you're just going to have to wait and see what's coming for you next. After everyone found out about how Stacy and her husband got married, after the affair and the way they left me behind, they started running away from the mess they had created. They tried to escape the fallout, but it wasn't long before reality caught up. Her husband couldn't avoid being transferred for work, and Stacy couldn't avoid the fact that she was about to lose her job. They ended up moving across the U.S., forced to relocate due to his job transfer. Now they live in a small, rundown apartment in Seattle, since they couldn't afford anything better near his office. With Stacy jobless and her husband's income reduced, their financial struggles have caused constant arguments. Their disagreements over money and their decisions have only escalated, to the point where they've both started having affairs of their own. This was all relayed to me by an old friend who's also close with my sister. I'm not sure if everything I've heard is entirely accurate, but it's the most reliable update I've received about their lives. According to this friend, both Stacy and her husband eventually found out about each other's infidelities. However, neither of them could get a divorce because they were financially dependent on each other. Stacy relied on her husband's income for survival, and he depended on her to keep their household running. Both of them knew their affair partners were also married, so the decision was made to continue living in this dysfunctional, unhappy marriage and simply accept the situation. But things took a dark turn when Kay found out she was pregnant. Shortly after, she ended up in the hospital after her husband's violent actions. She was in the ICU when she last texted her friend, and since then, no one's heard from her. Her friend's unsure what happened after that. As for myself and Steve, we finally had our wedding celebration with our closest friends and his family. After that, we decided to start trying for a baby.